Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys joining me for today's episode and spending some time with me here. We just got a beautiful morning here in Southwest Missouri, upper 60s probably. It's been so stinking hot here. It's really nice to get a break for that for a little bit. But guys, like it said in the thumbnail of this video, Bassmaster's not even trying to hide it anymore. They got this, they had, I don't know if you saw that, you probably saw the thumbnail, is they had a Facebook post this morning on the Bassmaster Facebook page about some of the guys they were covering for the Elite Series tournament up at the Mississippi River right now, and they got this big Garmin logo underneath it. And as far as I can tell, this is the first time that I have seen this logo in correlation with the Bassmaster post before. There may have happened, but I've never seen it before. And I found this, guys, extremely disturbing on a lot of different levels, and I want to get into that in today's video and sort of give you guys some comment on that. Also, guys, before we get started, thank you very much. Just a big thank you from me and my family, for everybody out there that continues to support Intuitive Angling, man. If you guys have subscribe to the channel, or if you're using the links I put in the description to support the channel, I really appreciate that. And I just really want to let you guys know that I know you get burned out on hearing it, but we never take that for granted. So thank you for the support of the channel there. Okay, you've heard me talk about this a lot, about how money corrupts everything. I've been on this tyrant a little bit, and I'm going to continue to do so because I'm freaking sick of it. I'm so sick of our society today, particularly in 2025, how we have seen money corrupt and permeate every segment of our society, politics, cultural, business, everything. It's absolutely disgusting. It's like an all-time high. And what I want to correlate this to, this whole thing with Garmin and the significance of seeing this logo, Garmin logo, on the Bassmaster post, is, let me give you a prime example with politics, because I always try to draw a correlation with politics, because politics, it represents such an accurate depiction of the macrocosm that we're involved with right now in our society, about how money corrupts and money influences. Take, for example, ExxonMobil or whatever big energy or oil company. They get behind some candidates, whether it be people running for senatorial positions, state or national or congressional, people like that, and they fund their campaigns. But in return, if these people are elected, they expect something out of it. If there's some type of initiative or legislation that comes across the board that is going to be against, ExxonMobil's or whoever's vested interest, they expect those people they put in positions of power to vote that down. That is the influence that money has in corrupting our society, in the terms of, you got big corporations, you got big entities that influence everybody on every single aspect of life. It's no different than this ad that we see in Garmin right now with Bassmaster. Now, before I get into this, I want to say right off the bat that Garmin and Bassmaster both do a lot of great things. Garmin has got incredible technology. Their aeronautics, technology they have, everything they have, they are truly an incredible company. My problem with Garmin and the electronic companies is the fact that this technology does not have any place whatsoever in sporting or recreational fishing. And I've already listed this a billion times. That technology that Garmin has developed with forward-facing sonar and all the stuff that they're working on now, probably that would be awesome in the hands of like conservation departments and fisheries biologists, but it doesn't have any place whatsoever in recreational and sporting fishing. Same with Bassmaster. Bassmaster, as much as I critique them and as much as I've dogged them the last couple of years because of their unrelenting stance on this forward-facing sonar, the organization sets the bar for the fishing industry. And that's why I get so pissed at Bassmaster, because of the ineptness of the management and what they've done to that organization that was once great by Ray Scott and Jerry McInnes. That's the problem with it. But on a foundational level, both of those companies are great companies. And we have, one of the things about it as citizens in this country, we have a right through the First Amendment to call stuff out and to voice our opposition, and not just lie down and take whatever people tell us. So here's the point I want to try to make with this, is when when you have a company like Garmin that obviously, you know, like I said, Bassmaster's obviously aligned with them to the point where they can put a big logo on there, and then, you know, we see the influence that that company has on, you know, this whole forward-facing sonar movement within fishing. This basically says it right off the bat, guys. That post right there says you better not expect any changes to be made in 2025 with forward-facing sonar. That's how I read it. It's like, get ready, forward-facing sonar is going to stay as long as we're pumping money into Bassmaster. You guys aren't going to get rid of forward-facing sonar. The same way that ExxonMobil better expect that their congressmen and senators vote down any type of green energy initiatives, or there's going to be hell to pay. So this is the influence that money has in a negative light in our society today. Because in a perfect world, guys, if you did not have money, let's take this whole thing with Garmin and Bassmaster and forward-facing sonar. In a perfect world, if there was no money to be made from forward-facing sonar, same why there's no money to be made in, you know, Bassmaster not allowing landing nets in tournaments or Alabama rigs or whatever. All these rules that Bassmaster has instituted that guys cannot do in tournaments, those rules are there not just because of whatever a sporting or fair chase or safety issue. It's there because there's no money behind it. But when you take an organization like Bassmaster, MLF, or whatever that has set that if you look through their rules and you look in there, there's so many rules that are instituted to basically ensure fair play and a level playing field. That's what they're trying to do. But then you've got this unbelievable hypocrisy about you're trying to create fair play, fair chase, a sporting type environment, and they allow video games to be legal in tournaments that actually show people where to fish at. As professional anglers, guys, professional bass anglers are supposed to be the best of the best. They're not supposed to have to allow a video game screen to point out where a bass is so they can throw over there and catch that bass. They should be able to be professionals, and they should have to fish to find fish. They should have to understand seasonal patterns and movements of bass on an intimate level. But they don't now, and that's why you see everybody that is dominating the Bassmaster Elite Series now looks like they've been shaving for about 12 months. They're young dudes out there, they're tech savvy, they don't have the experience on seasonal patterns and bass movement. I'm not dogging the young guys. Bassmaster has created this environment that has enabled that, and these guys, these young kids, I feel sorry for them to have been brought up in the age of forward-facing sonar technology, because they've completely missed out on all the mystery and the magic of the sport. So I'm not faulting them. They are victims. All those dudes that you see, guys, that are dominating tournaments right now that are barely shaven, are victims of this situation that's been created that's not their fault. So this is just this vicious cycle that continues, because when you have companies like Garmin that are multi-billion-dollar companies that can influence policy and that can influence rules through money, there's nothing good that comes out of that. There's nothing good about money influencing anything in our society, because it takes our voice away. It takes doing the right thing away. And the only thing that we can do about it as citizens, as bass anglers, as citizens of this country, when we see money corrupting politics, when we see money corrupting cultural issues, when we see money corrupting any type of policy initiatives, you have got to voice your opposition against it, and you got to do the right thing. And the right thing to do, guys, is creating a society, I don't care if it's in fishing or whatever, where money does not influence stuff. Because when you allow money to influence something, it takes the power away from the people, and it puts it in the hands of a very, very, very tiny minority of people and, you know, entities in this company. It's completely anti-American. That's not the way this country was set up, and we've morphed into that here recently. And the problem is you have people that enable that to continue. Because, like I said, all these dudes that have their congressional or senatorial seats out there, they're not going to rock the boat. They're not going to do anything to bite the hand that feeds them, because they want that 15 minutes of power. Don't ever underestimate the negative effect of money and power and greed within the human experience that's out there. and you have to be aware of it. You have to call it out when you see it. And I don't mean to get off on some sideways, conversation with that, but there's a lot of direct correlations with that. So anyway, guys, that pretty much tells me right there, without Bassmaster saying, if we got this big honking Garmin logo right out in public view to everybody see, there's not going to be any changes whatsoever for next year. You're still going to see the cheater box win every tournament. You're still going to see 20-year-old tech-savvy anglers that completely kick the butt of guys that have been, that have spent decades honing the true art form of bass fishing. And we're seeing our sport morph into something that's completely unrecognizable. And if you can't see that, you probably haven't taken time to examine the situation and pay attention that much. Because if you're a historian of the sport, and if you followed the sport, you understand what I'm talking about. And this isn't one of those deals that keep up with the times, you're going to get left behind grandpa, just get in your rocker and keep your mouth shut. Your time's past, you're a dinosaur, you're over the hill. That's a bunch of bullshit. It's about doing the right thing. And it's about doing the right thing for the right reasons without the influence of money. And in order for us to save this sport over the long term and protect its heritage and its traditions and its mystery and its magic and its wonderment and the entire aspect of the unknown, which is the foundational element of fishing, we have got to get this high-tech, forward-facing sonar, AI bullshit out of fishing. And until we do that, guys, if we don't do this, we're going to be, this generation right now, the 2025 power brokers within the sport of fishing are going to be looked upon as some of the biggest villains in the history of this sport over the next 20 years when you see the impact of what this stuff is going to do. I don't know if you guys pay much attention to AI, guys, but I have really been studying and spending a lot of time learning as much as I can about AI, and it's going to scare the crap out of you if they start instituting AI in our fishing, which there's no reason they're not going to, and it's probably happening as we speak. We are freaking screwed. So make your opposition to this known, guys. Make your opposition known against technology, against money influencing our sport. Do the right thing, get on the right side of the history, and maybe we'll have a sport to save and hand off to the next generation. So talk later, guys. See you.